Today we're gonna dig into a really powerful story called Nail Your Anger. It's a simple but brilliant way to think about one of the toughest emotions we all deal with.
I mean, come on, we've all been there, haven't we? That moment right after you've lost your cool and you just desperately wish you could pull those words right back out of the air. Well, this story gets right to the heart of that exact feeling.
All right, so our story kicks off in this tiny little village, and it's about a young boy who is dealing with a really big problem.
Now, this kid, he's only 10 years old, but his temper was completely off the charts. He'd get furious over the tiniest things. And it wasn't just a small issue. It was starting to take over his life and, it was really worrying his parents. And we're not just talking about him being a little moody. No, we're talking about full-on tantrums, those big, uncontrolled explosions of anger. For him, this was happening all the time. And you can see here just how much damage his anger was doing. His words were like little weapons. He'd taunt his friends, get on his neighbors' nerves, and you can only imagine how sad it made his parents. Pretty soon, people just started to stay away from him.
His parents were at their wits' end. They tried everything, but nothing seemed to work. So his father came up with this kind of weird but really clever idea, and it all had to do with a fence.
So here's the deal. The dad hands his son this huge bag of nails and a hammer. And the instructions were super simple. He said, "Every single time you lose your temper, I want you to go out to the backyard and hammer one nail into that fence."
And get this, on the very first day, he hammered 30 nails. 30! That's how often his anger was just boiling over. It was a physical, very clear picture of just how big his problem was. But then a funny thing started to happen. The actual act of hammering all those nails, it started to teach him something he never saw coming. Let's see how this plays out. Just look at this chart. In that first week, he's hammering nails like crazy. By week 2, it's cut in about half. And by the third week, it's way down. You can see the trend, clear as day. But why? Here's the key. He started to realize that it was exhausting. Hammering all those nails was actually harder than just learning to take a breath and control his temper. That was his big aha moment. And eventually, the big day came. He got through an entire day without losing his temper even once. Not a single nail went into that fence. He was so proud, he ran to tell his dad. But the lesson wasn't over just yet. Now, his father was pleased, for sure, but it was time for part 2 of the plan. And this is where the story gets really deep and reveals the true meaning behind everything. So, the new task was to undo all his work. For every day he managed to keep his anger in check, he had to go and pull one nail out of the fence. So, day after day, he started pulling them out. Pretty soon, all the nails were gone. The boy was beaming, so proud of the empty fence. But his father just pointed at it and said those powerful words. Even with the nails gone, you could still see all the damage left behind. And this slide right here breaks it all down perfectly. The nails, they're like your angry words. You can apologize, you can try to remove them. But the holes, man, those are the scars. That's the permanent hurt you leave behind in people. Some wounds just never quite disappear. So what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, the story really teaches us 2 huge life skills that, honestly, are what real strength is all about. First up is emotional self-regulation. It sounds kind of fancy, but it's exactly what the boy learned to do. It means choosing how to respond to your feelings, instead of just reacting and exploding. It's about you being in control, not your feelings. And the second big one is empathy.
This is all about understanding the holes we leave in other people. It's caring about how our actions and our words make other people feel. It's the key to having good, healthy relationships.
And in the end, this story really flips the script on what it means to be strong. It's not about having the loudest voice or the toughest attitude. True strength is having the self-control to manage your anger.
And that leaves us all with a pretty important question to think about. The story of the boy in the fence is such a great reminder of how long our words can stick around. So what holes in your own life, whether they're big or small, can you start working on mending today?